This has to be one of the biggest performance uplifts ever. Ryzen 11000 is set to be insane. But before I get to that, I have more bad news and I have an update. Welcome everyone to Gamer Meld. First up for today, it looks like the bad news is the real deal. If you saw my last video, you know that Nvidia's RTX 50 Super GPUs received some really bad news. First, there was a rumor going around about Nvidia's super cards actually getting cancelled, thanks to a shortage in 3GB GDDR7 memory. And this obviously coincides with multiple recent stories about shortages coming thanks to demand from AI. Luckily though, we saw a leaker shortly after claim that there wasn't a cancellation just yet, but that they had been delayed to Q3 of next year. And obviously the first leaker was likely just hearing that there's a chance Nvidia could cancel them. I wouldn't say it was necessarily wrong or anything like that, it was just early discussions that were happening. But clearly something bad was happening. Oh, and don't forget that the first leaker also claimed that there was a price increase in 2GB GDDR7 as well, leading to the obvious conclusion that GPU prices will likely start rising soon. Either way, we now have new reports on this, starting with the outlet HKEPC, who claims that Nvidia revealed to AIC partners yesterday that they haven't canceled the RTX 50 supercards, but that the release will in fact be moved to Q3 of next year. Not only that, but BenchLife claims that Nvidia hasn't even provided design information for the Super Series yet, and more or less confirms what I mentioned in my last video, that it's technically not a delay or a postponement because they haven't announced anything yet, which is true. It's more of a delay in the sense that Nvidia likely discussed the possibility of releasing them sooner, but now with shortages, they're set to do it later than expected. And things like this do happen internally all the time. That's the only issue with trying to get a release date a little too early. But I'm sure that Nvidia had hoped to release them sooner than this. Either way, this also further proves that shortages are likely the real deal, and you may want to look at getting your card sooner rather than later. Next up, if you're still having a hard time finding a GPU at a decent price, I've got the perfect place for you. Here, you don't have to worry about getting scammed like some people who found the wrong GPU in their card. I'm of course talking about this video's sponsor, Jawa, the online marketplace that guarantees you get exactly what the listing said or your money back. And they're about to have some awesome deals, specifically from November 22nd through December 2nd. I'm talking $300 off select custom PCs to 4080s for $550. In the meantime, Jawa has awesome prices on all the parts of your PC build. Whether you need a new CPU, memory, a case, even peripherals, they have it all. And if you're hoping to upgrade your current system, Jawa has an awesome program where you can trade in your old GPU or CPU to put towards your new parts, so you can save even more money. And if you're not into building out your own rig, Jawa also sells pre-built gaming PCs from a number of artisan builders for any budget. They really have some incredible builds, so don't wait anymore and save money with Jawa by visiting my link in the description below. And next up for today, I have a correction to a story I covered a couple videos back. It was about a passmark benchmark for a potential new CPU, the Ryzen 7 9700X3D. And in it, I did think it was a little odd that it had a higher boost clock than the 9800X3D, but I just assumed that it was either overclocked or an error in the reporting, which definitely does happen. But obviously I knew that a 9700X3D would at least have lower clocks than the 9800X3D. Well, it looks like that benchmark was actually fake, and it was done by spoofing the CPU info name through Linux, and Passmark just accepted it as a real benchmark. Now, obviously benchmarks are a great way to learn about products early. Companies have to test them, and a lot of times they end up on a database that anyone can see. It's proven a ton of future products right in the past. but unfortunately it can be faked. I mean, it's wild that Passmark just accepted the results, and they have apparently since taken the benchmark down, but in the end, I was one of the ones who shared that story. And unlike a lot of news organizations who will update a story after everyone's already read the thing so no one actually sees the update, I wanted to let you know here that the story is not correct, and there apparently isn't a 9700X3D. With that said, the 9850X3D and 9950X3D2 do still look to be real. Those were leaked completely separately from very accurate leakers. Still though, I wanted to make this correction. And lastly for today, AMD's Ryzen 11000 gets its first internal benchmarks, and this bad boy looks set to be one of the biggest performance uplifts ever. And the 3D V-Cache variants are monsters as well. At this point, AMD must want to bankrupt Intel because they're not only not slowing down, but they seem to be ramping things up. At least if this leak from Moore's Law is dead is even remotely correct. So there's a lot to cover here, but starting things off, we are talking about Zen 7, which of course means 2 generations ahead. And I know that some people don't like talking so far in advance, but don't forget that chip makers start designing chips years before their release. So it makes sense that we would have this now. Either way, as you can see, Zen 7's codename is Grimlock, and the core architecture is codenamed Prometheus. This is the Zen 7 classic cores, so not efficient cores or anything like that. And they are actually set to be built on TSMC's A14 process node, which is a massive leap from TSMC's N2 or N2P node rumored to be on Zen 6, meaning AMD plans to make huge process leaps going from Zen 5 to Zen 6 and now Zen 6 to Zen 7. Like I said, they aren't slowing down anytime soon. Next up, Zen 7 apparently also includes new ISA instructions for quantization format conversions, as well as FP8 and INT8 improvements. And what's wild is that a new report found that AMD recently added support for their Zen 6 ISA, and it includes new ISA features for things like INT8. Moving back to this, when it comes to the desktop parts, we're looking at chiplets with 16 Zen 7 cores each. And given they still include up to 2 core chiplets, that makes for a maximum of 32 cores. So double the core count of Ryzen 9000. Not only that, but we're also apparently looking at 32 megabytes of L2 cache and 64 megabytes of L3 cache per chiplet. So not in total, but per chiplet. And according to this, the 3D V-Cache variant would also add an additional 160 megabytes under the CCD for each CCD. Obviously, this is the highest end model, only one that would come with 3D V-Cache on both CCDs, but this would make for a total of 224 megabytes of L3 cache per CCD, making for a total of 448 megabytes of total L3 cache. Let's just say Ryzen 11000 or whatever it ends up being called will rarely have to pull from memory. Moving over to performance, according to this, Zen 7 gets a whopping 15 to 25% IPC uplift over Zen 6, and this is coming from all of Moore's Law's Dead's AMD sources. Don't forget that we're not talking about clock speed increases or anything like that, just IPC. Apparently there's an 8% IPC uplift over Zen 6 just from the new cache design alone. Now, when it comes to actual performance, he claims between 15 to 30% performance uplift in single-threaded workloads and 50 to 67% uplift in multi-threading. And keep in mind that this is over Zen 6, not current gen, meaning if the leaks about Zen 6 are true, this could be an unbelievable 50% faster in single-threaded and over 150% faster in multi-threaded versus Zen 5, meaning Ryzen 9000. Next up are the notebook Grimlock parts, and these apparently come first with a monolithic IOD with 4 Zen 7 classic cores and 8 Zen 7C cores, making for a total of 12. But there's an option for an 8-core Silver King chiplet for a total of 20 possible cores. Here he claims a range of performance increase depending on wattage, and all of them are seriously impressive because we are talking per core. And finally is the Grimlock Halo SKUs, and this is of course set to be their Zen 7 based Ryzen Max chips. And these bad boys come with 8 Zen 7 Classic cores and 12 Zen 7C cores, making for a total of 20, but with an option to add 2 8-core Silver King chiplets for a total of 36 cores. Basically, Zen 7 is truly set to be one monster of an upgrade for AMD. Let's just hope it doesn't also include a monster price increase. So while that does it for today, what Ryzen 11000 chip would you get if this leak ends up being true? Let me know down in the comments below. And don't forget to check out Java down in the description below for awesome PC hardware prices. And as always, have a great day.